Welcome back to Typecast Heroes, where we believe typology can save the world. I'm Amanda Fulgerson.
And I'm Jessie Miller, and today we are going to be talking about introverted feeling as it presents in the child function, which is for the ISTJs and the INTJs. So we will be talking about the behaviors you can expect to see, and more importantly, the motivations that drive those behaviors. So it's important to remember that what we talk about is considered the ideal average of how these functions present in that position. So not just the ideal function, but also the ideal function presentation. There's a lot of different things that could knock you off your type development that could impact this, particularly if you are very young. So if you're still a teenager, or if you're somebody who's past the middle of your life, these functions can present very differently for you. But if you are at the middle of your life and you're looking backwards, you should be able to see these tendencies, because innate tendencies do not change even if the behavior does. So type doesn't change, it evolves. That is a saying that I read about sometime this week. I do a lot of reading, guys.
So much reading, but that's the most true statement ever, because we see it all the time where people are like, oh, I was an ENFP, but now I'm an INFP. Nope. You were one or the other, and you are that same one.
So
you
type
just
evolves. So keep that in mind as we talk about this child function as it presents for the ideal average.
So as we say in every video, anyone can be anything. However, when we're going through these videos with the function in each placement of the cognitive stack, we are specifically talking about the motivation behind the behaviors. So our point in saying that is that, yes, while anyone can do anything and be anything, there are specific commonalities that you should see amongst the people who have FI as their child. So taking a look at FI as a child function, this is the vulnerable function. It can look, we like to say, a little bratty. It can look playful, maybe innocent. There's a whole bunch of different ways to view it. But again, there should be consistencies that you see amongst these two types, ISTJ and INTJ, as they use their FI child.
So yes, so the child video. So in our cognitive stack video, we went to a big explanation about the child function, and the child function was the one that we were called out about the most for not doing it justice. So these videos are supposed to kind of give you a little bit more explanation. For the typical user, the child function can be very childlike. So childish, it can be naive, it can have a innocent tendency, it can have a playful tendency, but the point is that it is childlike. So things that you would associate with a child, that is the way that this function tends to present itself. So for an ISTJ and an INTJ, the introverted child function is a function they like using because they're both introverted. ISTJ and INTJ are introverted people. So what we have a tendency to do is we like to stay in the attitude that we are naturally oriented for. So they will jump from their perceiving function, which is introverted, down into their introverted judging function, introverted feeling. So they'll get kind of stuck there. And child functions can have a lot of positive things. They can be very playful with beliefs. So they will learn how to navigate an environment, and usually they will want to do the extroverted thinking thing and organize the environment, or let that kind of take charge, because they both have extroverted thinking as their parent function. But their child function will tell them, this is the okay environment to be my authentic self. This is not the situation where I would want to show my authentic self. This is the situation where my beliefs can come up to the forefront. This is probably not the situation. So it can help them sort of make those decisions in that deciding factor. However, there's a lot of challenges that come with the child function. So for ISTJs and INTJs, if they're looping in that and they're too strong in their child function, it can look like, I don't feel like doing this today, so I'm not going to do this today. They can also be kind of moody, because introverted feeling is unique to the user. So for ISTJs and INTJs, this is where that stereotype of robot comes into play, because introverted feelers already take a lot of time developing what they believe is the correct emotional response to a situation. And so if they are having what for them is an emotional outburst, it may actually not look like that for particularly extroverted feelers who have a very different understanding of emotional presentation than an introverted feeler would. So they can be very upset, but nobody from the outside can see it. They just see moody. They just like stick a tag on them like, you are moody today. But they could be actually really upset, or they could be really frustrated or really confused. Like they can be a whole variety of things inside their introspective process. But to you, because it's a child function, and child functions also don't have quite the wide ability to assess nuance in a situation. So their range of emotional behaviors is also probably a little different. Their range of understanding what they value is a little less than it would be for an introverted feeling parent or introverted feeling hero function. So you may hear us in the type videos say that ISTJs and INTJs can use their introverted feeling child equally with their extroverted thinking child. They do. The difference is the motivations and how they present, because the introverted feeling child is constantly fighting with the extroverted thinking parent until you can learn how to make peace between those two functions, which is something that we will go into with advice and tips on how to do that later on. But it's kind of like this push-pull of, I don't feel like doing this. I want to be, well, you should be efficient and effective today, pushing and pulling. And when the child function is in a situation where they don't have to be responsible. So if an ISTJ or an INTJ is at home and they're
comfortable
just relaxing, just being themselves, then their introverted feeling child can come out to play, and that can look like trying to relate to others, trying to put themselves in other people's shoes, trying to play with ideas and beliefs and moral systems for themselves and seeing how they relate to those situations, because that's what introverted feeling does. But again, it has to be in the right environment for the child to come out to play. Otherwise, particularly for INTJ men and ISTJ men, they want to protect the introverted feeling child. They don't want it to come out and play. They want it to stay kind of hidden. And if they do that too long, if they jump between their parent and their dominant function, which is their perceiving function and extroverted thinking, then they never allow their introverted feeling child to come out to play in the right situations. So when it comes out, it's even more likely to show up as a brat or to show up as a negative thing. And we hear that behavior of, I don't feel like doing this. I don't want to do this.
More stubborn, maybe a little bit.
What's the point of
maybe
this?
Closed-minded. They just can't see past their own
beliefs. And it's not logic. It's not the same as extroverted thinking or introverted thinking.
You can look at them and be like, what you're doing doesn't actually make any sense. And they're like, I don't really care.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yep.
And they're going to be really stuck on it. So this is all because of that beautiful child. So some of the other struggles that the introverted feeling child function can have, again, we already covered a lot of them because the child function does tend to present a lot of difficulty. You can project this onto others. So ISTJs and INTJs have a tendency to view anyone who uses introverted feeling as the first function as childish. So if you are an ISFP or an INFP and you are encountering a ISTJ or an INTJ, they will have a tendency to want to parent you because they recognize your lead function as their child. So they will project that onto you and see you as childish even if you aren't. And again, these are tendencies. They have a tendency to view you as a child, and then they will talk to you as if you are one. It can also mean that they have a tendency to boss around people who have introverted feeling as their parent function. If they see introverted feeling out in the world, they view it as childish because it is a child function inside themselves. So they will want to tell them what to do.
Yep. Kind of be a little bit bossy, a little bit bratty.
With their extroverted thinking process is the one that has a tendency to want to parent those people in particular. So again, go watch those videos because we've got those too.
Yep.
Also, the introverted feeling child can have, any child function has a tendency to be happy one minute and unhappy the next. So they kind of jump around. So they could have one day where an ISTJ or INTJ is playfully engaging with their introverted feeling child. They are showing ideas. They're deciding what makes sense to me in a positive way. And the next day, they can be doing that moody behavior we were talking about. Really, it is up to the IXTJ to develop their parent function a little better because their parent function is the extroverted one. And with a strong parent function, then you can strengthen the child. And there are other ways to strengthen the child. But for now, those videos will come later. But for now, we're just going to give some quick personal growth for the introverted feeling child. So what do you recommend that they do?
So the biggest thing with an introverted feeling child is to watch out for those moments where everyone around you is like, they can kind of see that what you're doing is not what's best, and you're almost completely blind. It's not even that you're blinded by it. It's that you could potentially even see it and just not even care because it doesn't fit with what you want to do in that moment. So that is the biggest thing that I can say in terms of personal growth for just getting along with others. And just like what Jesse said, for within yourself, if you can notice that and you can start relying on your extroverted thinking just a little bit more and really kind of hone in on that parent, which should be a compulsion anyways, not should be, but it tends to be a compulsion anyways that kind of pulls you out of that. Let that happen. Lean into that instead of fighting it. If you feel within yourself that you're doing something and you're kind of looking around, you feel like, maybe this isn't an efficient use of my time, or maybe I should be doing this, this, and this, or maybe my family expected or wanted me to do this, this, and this. Instead of leaning into your wants and your maybe a little bit stubbornness that FI child can appear as, try to lean into that extroverted thinking. That's about it. This is just supposed to be a really quick video to try to like summarize what an FI child can look like.
So thank you for watching our channel. Like we mentioned, there's lots of things on our channel to go and educate yourself on all of this stuff. Go ahead and hit subscribe so you can follow all of the tips that we will be giving out in the future about how to develop these functions further. Also, if you do not know about the project Typecast to Heroes, please go watch our very first video, Welcome to Typecast Hero, which will be linked below. It's linked in all of our videos because that project is super dear to my heart, and like I'm obsessed with all of the things.
It's actually the whole point of all. Well, it originally
was. The point has changed
this.
since then, but it was.
So
the
to
point.
know about the new point, go watch the project update video, which again is on our YouTube channel. So thank you all for watching. Again, like, subscribe, share, comment, all the things, and reach out to us if you have any questions or want to partake in that interview process that you'll learn more about in our Welcome to Typecast Heroes video. Thanks. Bye.
Let's gather around the type fire and sing our type fire song. Our MBTITYPOLOGY song. And if you feel uncomfortable, then know there's nothing wrong.